Welcome back, folks. We are getting into the fourth match of the day where we have Wichita Wolves taking on One Shot. This is exciting. We've officially got that branding underway, which we've kind of known about for a few weeks now as the players preemptively put the WW into their names. But Connor, we've got the branding now below us. Who are those players for Wichita Wolves? I know we've been playing, but I feel like we should reintroduce them under their new guise.
Well, you should know at least 4 out of the 5 because sometimes Splash doesn't show up in the lobby when he's on hotel internet. But the big one you got to know is Ferda. Absolutely phenomenal play so far on the entry. Dominant in the early round, as you see. +6 with a lot of entry engagements. Him, after taking a little bit of a vacation Alpha Challenger League for a stage or two, comes back and helps to reform this old two-faced core team that really did struggle. You still have Eddie, Julian, who used to be Kick Throw, Silent, and Splash. A lot of these players that have really kind of grown in the ranked trenches in the underage leagues finally have had their chance. And here in this game against One Shot, they can potentially propel themselves into first place.
Yeah, well, let's not forget they're in third place, One Shot in second place. Both of these teams have that same opportunity. One Shot, they've looked so good, Tanner.
Yeah, One Shot's looked absolutely dominant throughout this stage. There's been a bunch of games where things have been getting close. Maybe they lose a point here or there, but they're in second place for a reason. You got really big names on there. Yeah, Kilo, Slip, Sway, Sub, and of course MVK. You may have heard of him. He's been around the block once or twice. Teams have been performing. Specifically, though, I want to highlight Swaylin because he's just been an absolute force almost on every single defensive round. It looks like they'll have a bad attacking half and they'll switch over to the defense, and then boom, Swaylin just turns into this absolutely dominant monster. And then last week we saw Subarctic. He was also popping off pretty heavily on the entry department.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back. Wichita Wolves, they're going to be looking to secure that number one position. How do they do it?
Well, first you just got to take a deep breath because there was always that saying with the ATK chorus, oh yeah, they haven't beaten a good team yet, like ha 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 ha. And then they came out and they looked pretty good against Aerial Arise, and they've looked pretty good in other games against the likes of LSR. However, then they had another showing up against TTK that was kind of a little bit rough. Now here, this is a really high pressure game for these young players. You're fighting for either second place or first place with a victory. And overall, Tanner, I know you know how it is to play these kind of high pressure games.
Yeah, it's just you got to come in, play it like any other game. Got to keep it simple. You got to do what you've been doing this whole time, and not try and reinvent the wheel. Not try and do anything you're outside of your comfort zone. Play to your strengths and try and minimize those mistakes that ultimately will cost you this game.
One of the biggest mistakes that I think One Shot does a really good job of is really punishing giving up picks on their attacks. If you're on the defense and you're a little bit overextended, they're going to get those kills, which Wolves need to kind of reel it back just a little bit. And you had your point of kind of playing the clock on One Shot's own defensive side.
Yeah, I absolutely think One Shot, this is a team that I believe this game's going to be won or lost on their own. From what I saw from the Wichita in my VOD review, they're a team that doesn't really take a lot of map control. We'll see what kind of map they want to go to, but if it's a map where you need to get established before you can start executing on site, One Shot have been really dominant. If they can get picks on the roam and capitalize on those success and then pull back and play the clock, I think they're going to have an absolute blast on their defensive half and probably pull this game completely out of the hands of Wichita. And then that being said, on attack, just keep it simple. I don't want to see 6 claymores coming out on the side of the attackers. Whatever map it ends up going to, just make sure you guys are playing fundamentally. You're not getting surprised. You've got good information in front of your entries. Wichita like to play a little bit loose on the defensive half. Make sure you find out where those spawn peaks are coming from, those runouts, and be able to capitalize off them. If you have the info, you're going to be successful.
Now, Tanner, between these second place and third place teams, which one are you more impressed by map pool wise?
Map pool wise, I would say probably One Shot. Just because both teams have about a 5 or 6 map pool, but I do like the maps that are coming out on the side of One Shot. You got maps like Chalet, Club, Bank, Cafe, Villa, Theme. These are some of these new maps integrated in there, and they've been really controlling what maps they kind of want to play here. And then on the side of Wichita, they're a team that likes to play Chalet, Oregon, Villa, Border, Sky. So both teams have got pretty impressive map pools. What I'm kind of looking for here is the Villa, which we see banned right there. And I think the other map I was looking for is Chalet. Historically, a map that's been really strong for One Shot. They have really good repel players. They're able to capitalize on their success. And it looks like, I believe we got Chalet or Oregon left, and Decider's going to One Shot. Oh, man, please take us to Chalet. Nope, we got Oregon. Okay, but This is not necessarily all that bad because, like as I was mentioning, right, Wichita's a team that struggles to get established on the execute. Oregon is a map that's very sequential. You take your time, you take your steps. If One Shot can limit the amount of picks they give on the defensive half over to the side of Wichita, they can definitely deny them successful executes. What they have to be ready for, though, and this is kind of like a 10C of Wichita, is to just rush site. Like they'll have 10 seconds left, they'll have no map control, all the utility be up, but they'll just 3-man funnel down a staircase. And if as long as they're ready and their guns up and they anticipate that, I think this will be a good game for One Shot.
Do you think, Connor, when we look at these two teams versus the two teams that played Oregon earlier on in the day, are we gonna see two different matchups as we see a difference in skill levels coming to the same map?
Yeah, I think both of these teams are going to bring a lot more of an elevated Oregon, especially because I'm switching my vote onto Wichita Wolves, because I think that's a massive mistake for One Shot to leave this map up for them. This is by far their most comfortable map, where they can just kind of run around on the roam and probably get a kill or two with their eyes closed. Just every spawn peek in the book they're going to have on their roam game that you said was going to be incredibly impactful, Tanner, for the side of either team. All these players that are going to be activated have some sort of gimmick, some sort of trick to get a free pick. They're going to be able to get kills. They're going to be able to get back to site, constantly have man advantage. And I am a little bit worried for One Shot considering this choice.
Yeah, I just want to add on there. Wichita has played this map 5 times. They've won 4 out of those 5 times. This is absolutely a very strong pick for the side of Wichita Wolves.
What I will say is you bring up very good points, Connor, but I'm going to switch my vote to Wichita Wolves, not because of the points you brought up, but I'm just ahead of you in cookies in the prediction percentage. and I just want to make sure that win or lose, I'm able to keep it that way. It's purely selfish. I'm sorry, but I have to do it.
So at least Harrison, who is currently laughing in the background, is confirmed to be the trash can of the prediction.
Tanner, are you sticking with One Shot on this one though? That's the key question.
Yeah, I'm sticking with One Shot. I'm not gonna let you guys catch up at all. I'm gonna project myself forward.
No, I like that. So you can come down a little bit. We can squeak up just a bit, and that will allow me. Because hey, I think it was stage 2 last year that I did pretty well in the predictions. Wasn't so good in stage 3, but now I'm coming back. Tanner, why, before we get into it, why One Shot over Wichita Wolves, even though it seems that Wichita Wolves, the map lends to them? Why do you like One Shot?
I really like the team play coming out from One Shot. I really like how they play when they keep it simple, especially on their attacking half. I think they're a far stronger team than Wichita. I feel like a lot of the picks Wichita are getting currently on the entry department are from holding angles and waiting for opponents to swing them. I also believe One Shot's a team that has really solid discipline and knows when not to give those swings and when to give them. And I believe because of that, what you're going to see is Wichita maybe stall out. And the teams that they have beat on this map previously, they're not really all that impressive overall. So I still think One Shot has a really good chance here.
Well, depending on how the rest of the day plays out, the winner of this match could potentially vault themselves into first position and secure it. We'll just have to find out. We're going to Oregon, Wichita Wolves taking on One Shot.
I'll make fun of my prediction percentage all you want, but the fact remains, I predict with my heart, not my head. I whenever Ferme tags us in the channel, is like, do your predictions. I don't think about it. I just look at the teams and I'm like, yeah, okay. So you can't make fun of me, Connor, because I don't care. But Jonah, an interesting point that the analyst desk brought up, right? Wichita Wolves have played this map 5 times. They've won 4 times.
Yeah.
Conversely, One Shot have banned this map 8 times.
Wow.
And have never played it.
So, potentially very one-sided if that's the case, but there is no world in which One Shot, a team of this caliber, would go to a map that they are not prepared for. Oregon, after all, is a map that everyone is probably familiar with anyway. Maybe One Shot, we're saving it for a moment like this, where a battle for second, potentially first, but more likely second, is on our hands. We will enter our operator ban phase, though, and see if we see anything unique, but this already looks like the Oregon that we saw earlier today. The Ying taken off the board first is maybe a little bit more unorthodox compared to what you could see in terms of the Maverick or the Habana or something like a Flores, but pretty much right after that, the Ying is generally the next up in terms of those bans. Those Candelas can be ruthless when executing on that basement site, even that top floor bomb site of kids and dorms. You throw those Candelas in, you throw those smokes in, and you could easily go for a rush plant. But at least in this map, that rush potential will be at least slightly subdued. As it seems both of these teams will have to, if they want to rush, they'll have to do it with whatever else kind of utility they want to throw at their opponents. Maybe the Blitz, maybe something else creative, maybe the Capital in play. But it looks like, based on these lineups we've got in front of us, we may be in for a stock standard first round.
Yeah, you can see in chat during those bans, Eddie was not very happy with One Shot banning his Ying. He had to, he actually girred in chat. Thank you, Eddie. One Shot are known to like the Goyo. After his change, we don't see him as much, but if used correctly, he can become an extremely powerful operator. That fire covers a hell of a radius, as well as delaying 20 seconds each. They last a long-ass time. And it sucks to deal with as the attackers, especially if you're a team like Wichita Wolves, who sometimes struggle to get that execute going, as Tanner had pointed out, and tend to execute with very little time remaining if they don't deal with those Goyo canisters, or Goyo packs, whatever you want to call them, early enough. They could be a difference maker.
Well, of course, the drone's also a difference maker in terms of the intel game, and NBK will take his time waiting for that drone to actually swing around from its little protection, that little metal sheet from that drone hole. He'll take it out, and so that is one drone. Now 2 drones down, now 3 drones down from this attack. Wichita Wolves would probably like to keep this intel as long as they can, but when you've got someone like Slippery playing forward on those tower stairs, when you've got someone like NVK playing up in security before eventually falling back down those freezer stairs into freezer itself, it gets difficult to maintain those drones for very long.
I thought that was
Silent
the clone.
is going to send it down the stairs. I thought it was the clone. I think it was supposed to be maybe a little bit of a prank, because who would just walk down the stairs without any protection? I guess Silent would, as he walks down and gets bodied.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was supposed to be like a bait play. Unfortunately, though, you know, people shoot one shot into the Iana clone and they call it a day. So, you know, understandable that, you know, maybe if Silent was going for a bait, he figured someone would one-shot body shot him and he'd be able to react in time. But unfortunately, that one shot was from a shotgun at point-blank range.
One shot?
So,
You've said one shot 3 times. I was like, the team? No? Not happy with me for that one?
the hatch is
That's
now
all
being opened. They'll do so successfully because there's no Cade. Minute 10 now on the clock. And I mean, although they've lost that first pick, it's still an okay amount of time. It's not great, you know, they're going to be cutting it close, but they don't have to rush quite yet.
Yeah, no real urgency, at least at the moment. 60 seconds is not a ton of time, but it is enough if you've got stuff working for you. Unfortunately, Ferda will be pushing in blue on his own, and Subarctic will not shy away from taking that gunfight. Had some intel on that position, he went for the swing, and he collected the kill no problem. Eddie is the next player to take up residence, trying to push into construction here, into bunker. 2 players, though, holding this cross. It's not going to be likely he can pick up this kill for free. Just kidding. He will. Not only getting 1, but 2, because Suelen had backed off. Going for 3? Yes, he can, as he secures a kill onto Kilo. Julian will get down, though, as NVK steps up and wields that vector beautifully, but Splash counters that with a nice kill onto Slippery. 8 seconds, though. This bomb has to go down. Fire to deny the run-in from Splash. NVK, surprise, he's on the rotate. Here's the pre-fire from Eddie. Can he finish him off? Yes, he can. And just in the nick of time, Wichita Wolves will take the first round, but wow, that came close.
Wow. I mean, one shot. We're in such a big advantage. 2 opening kills. The time running ever so low. And then, well, Eddie says, I don't need my Ying. I have another LMG that will suit me just fine. Gets, who was that? Subarctic on the Jaeger, shoots him in the back, you know, whatever. Subarctic was trying to rotate away. Suelen gets a little too aggressive and peeks out of elbow instead of playing behind the shield. Then, because Suelen gives up elbow, the rotate from Kilo from Freezer is caught by Eddie. And things just continue to fall apart. It becomes a 1 versus 2. The Fire delays Splash with the case, which was, you know, almost a round winner in and of itself. Splash had to rotate around. NVK caught him, but then backed himself into a corner. And all Eddie had to do was hold mouse 1 against a Vector. Not a whole lot that NVK could have done as the Goyo because of that slight bit of mispositioning. So it really looked like One Shot should have won that round, but Eddie put his foot down.
Yeah, that was big. That really was massive. It looked like he wouldn't be able to get a single kill, let alone 3. I mean, walking into bunker went into what looked like it should have been a crossfire, but his position was actually the only attacker position that I don't think One Shot had any idea about. Subarctic, instead of taking that fight, just ran away and turned his back. You had the player holding the cross. I believe that was Swaylin, who just also backed off the cross, stepping back to elbow itself, not able to support Subarctic or get the trade. And at that point, Eddie had already done his job, but then he just continued to go crazy, getting 4 kills overall. Great work from him. But going into round 2, One Shot, they will, of course, be looking to deny Eddie from the same glory. They're going back down to the basement, though, and as you can see, they're playing this one pretty passive, at least at this point in the round. They've already played active enough. They've already taken down 5 drones from this attacking team. That is a good bit of defensive progress, even though they're all just sitting back and waiting at this point.
Plus, none of those drones are in pocket. They are all either actively being used or somewhere on the map covering a flank. So, Wichita Wolves info game, not nearly as good as it was in the previous round. Hibana x Kairos as well, I believe, to open up the barrel wall. He shot out and now impacted by Slippery, completely denying almost all of Julian's hard, no, all of Julian's hard breach. He has none left. Barrel's door going to be significantly safer, and Swaylin will not make the same mistake as he did the round prior. He will reinforce elbow, figure, okay, there's no Maverick. All of Hibana's x Kairos is gone. There is 0 chance for Wichita Wolves to establish that crossfire.
There is still, of course, some angle that Wichita Wolves could secure if they work their way up to E-Box. They can still drop, but when they do, they've got Harry Potter and Pillar to worry about. Pillar is the main threat right now, but that's been dealt with. Harry Potter is next, and Julian will clean up Subarctic after he's able to get 1. Wichita Wolves have somehow secured the man advantage, but NBK, making sure to answer, returns us to an even 3v3. Julian has the case in pocket, but needs to find a way to get into this site. The fire from these Vulcan canisters making it a serious problem. You combine that with the smoke. Swaylin still has 1 more in pocket. This is going to be a near impossibility if they want to push their way in. Slippery hatch rotating up above, and Wichita Wolves having no idea. Silent is now the last alive and has no time to make anything happen. He'll look the wrong way, and NVK is ready to pick up that kill, but that is a hell of a way to answer from One Shot. They'll take the second round.
A great call from Slippery to flank, knowing that Wichita Wolves were so intel-starved. They likely had very few flank drones, or maybe even none at all. One Shot not getting over aggressive, seeing that after they took their advantage with the hard breach, they bunkered down. They left the Aruni out to dry, figured he could go 1 for 1, which he did. And then everything fell into place. The big kill, in my opinion, before Slippery's flank, the big kill was NVK's C4 in Freezer. That was the only other prong that Wichita Wolves had going for them, and it was wiped off the board by a Nitro Cell. Splash could no longer establish that cutoff, could no longer push in through Freezer. That kind of cornered Wichita Wolves off to one direction, and then you have Slippery making the call to flank, getting 2 kills from the hatch, and shutting the round out. Well played to One Shot all around. And now they finally will rotate upstairs to dorms with the exact same operator lineup, save the Goyo being traded for an Aruni.
Gotta say, I do love the way that One Shot have used the Goyo. I mean, that was really well done. Just choking off. I mean, right, delayed so much time. It choked off the attackers, and it forced them to take fights that they weren't ready for. And you think about the flank there from Slippery, the fire is the reason that worked. I mean, yes, he probably could have gotten a kill either way, but they were stuck in E-Box and had nowhere to go, and so Slippery was able to capitalize on it. The fire, you combine that with the smoke, and it feels like it's impossible to walk into the bomb site and get a default plant down. That really is going to force the Wichita Wolves to be a lot more careful of the amount of time they're taking clearing out a map or working their way up. It seems that in this round, though, they're remedying those time issues rather quickly by taking NVK off the board almost instantly. I think he took that fight in tower, and, well, he'll definitely regret that decision now.
NVK overexposing himself. Remember, the analyst test talked about a lot of Wichita Wolves openings being defenders peeking into them. It looked like that's what happened with NVK. So they'll lose a body, but it is only the Aruni, right? She's already got all her utility down, the bulletproof cams, the Surya gates. They're already done. Nothing active left for NVK to do. They've still got gas canisters. They've still got AC4. And One Shot tend to be a pretty good bunker team. In the meantime, Wichita Wolves have now opened up Attic, and Kilo might soon be under fire.
Well, the problem for Wichita Wolves is that this wall can't get opened yet until the mute jammer has been dealt with, which Silent will take that upon himself and deal with it rather swiftly. Splash. Now securing a kill onto Swaylin. Splash has already worked himself up into pit here, taking a very advanced position, and One Shot, I don't know how they're going to deal with this. It's very hard to take this position back after it's been secured, especially if this player has the LMG and the site pressure is building at the same time. I mean, Splash, he can just tear apart this defense if they're not careful. There it is. Eddie is actually the one to collect the kill onto Subarctic. Slippery hoping to go unnoticed, playing close on the door, but Ferda will cleanly take him down, following up that kill onto Kilo with a kill onto Slippery, just melting those remaining defenders. And that is a beautiful attack from the Wolves.
I mean, there's not a lot to say about that other than the fact that everything went right and they found the picks they were looking for. Beautiful Attic take. I thought it was Kilo in pit. It was actually Swaylin. He was dusted a lot quicker than I thought he would be. Then that gave Wichita Wolves full Attic and pit control. They have, the breach open. They have trophy. There's not a whole lot that One Shot could do except slowly be constricted. Well done to Wichita Wolves. Again, Eddie and Splash both having big rounds. And we see ourselves on dorms once again. One Shot not wanting to switch up their sights. They want to do the retry. They want to make sure they get this defense right before they move on.
Well, that's kind of the One Shot way, at least on Oregon. We went basement twice. They're going to go dorms twice. Basement, we saw a pretty quick adaptation and a massive victory in that second round. But after getting totally dismantled, wonder what they're going to change here. I mean, we're not seeing the Goyo, we're not seeing time waste be the focus, but we may be seeing a little bit more of a bottom floor extension. You can see Kilo setting that one up over by dining, over by this showers corridor, and up to actually in showers itself for a time. Maybe hoping to delay the Wolves as they work their way in on this first floor clear. But right now, Eddie is maybe up to something nefarious. He's worked his way into bunker and droning himself in from down below. Maybe trying to sneak in behind One Shot or catch them off guard if possible.
Curious that he's on Gridlock, too. Not only Gridlock on Oregon, but Gridlock on Oregon combined with Nomad? I mean, we saw Nice play it, but still. Or sorry, not today, but we've seen Nice play Gridlock on Oregon. Still, strange that Wichita Wolves are bringing her out. I mean, if Eddie wants a good gun, then there you go. The F90 is incredible. But it's Ferda to land the first kill. LMG in hand will get NVK. Second opening death in a row for the Aruni player. And that'll take one of those players downstairs off the board. Nade goes out, deals a little bit of damage to Subarctic. Someone is on the hunt for Eddie. Looks to be Kilo, who will miss his initial shots. And Eddie, though, on the re-engage, will not hit his either. Kilo will walk on past the drone. Shotgun out, looking to catch anyone pushing him. He is stuck between a rock and a hard place, being actively pinched. In comes the Gridlock, but a good flick from Kilo will put him down. Another, but doesn't do the job. Unfortunately, the shotgun will fail him, and Silent will reclaim the man advantage.
Yeah, the shotgun there working in the first engagement, but onto Silent, there it is, did not work so well. And Silent will be able to get some HP back thanks to Ferda and the Finka, and it will keep Wichita Wolves in a 4v3 advantage. Ferda as well will now be rotating around and likely getting back to the objective, and Silent, having no grenades, will likely just turn his attention towards the white stairs to work his way up from there. But a big difference in this attack from the Wolves, focusing much more on this presence down below and a lot less on that games wall. In fact, the games wall has yet to be opened up. Doesn't seem to matter though, because the pressure at the dorm's window is a little bit too powerful for One Shot to deal with. Ferda will collect another kill. Subarctic and Slippery are now going to have to go massive. Subarctic's position is telegraphed as he stepped outside for a moment. He'll rotate back in from the armory side and get taken down while he does so. Slippery goes for 2. This is important, but unfortunately, Splash comes in from behind to take Slippery's head. A valiant effort in the end, but another beautiful attack from the Wolves, staying extremely patient, really taking their time that entire round, and, well, getting the attack done in due time as well. Strong start for them. It's 3-1.
The advantage claimed in that roam clear. Too great for One Shot to overcome, which Wolves were able to find 2 on NVK and on to Kilo, who went 1 for 1. But at that point, Wichita Wolves had everything locked down. Their air jabs were set up. Their big window play was coming through with the other side. I believe the trophy or attic attackers starting to push on through. Sure, Slippery went big with 2, but you had the Nomad come in at the perfect time. Completely deny any sort of clutch attempt. Wichita Wolves, I mean, 2 rounds in a row, just having really solid attacks, and there's not a whole lot to say. There's not a lot of complex things to say about it. It was just a good step-by-step process that One Shot are kind of feeding into.
And one thing I noticed in that round, which, you know, I haven't really experienced before, is that a 3-minute round, for some reason, it felt like it was 4.5 minutes long there. Not because it was like really boring and slow, but quite the opposite. The fact that the Wolves were able to get so much done in the little time that you have in a round, it felt like all of a sudden the round timer had actually increased. They were not only able to start the attack from one way and pick up some kills from there, they were able to then work their way in from below, work their way in from lobby, work their way in into kitchen and dining, do so many different things, turn their attention to several different positions as well, and to do all that and then get an execute done with still a good bit of cushion on the clock, I mean, it really speaks to their efficiency and how well they know this map and how well they know the game. Already in round 5, starting off on a positive note. Slippery, who has been extremely impactful and at times clutch for One Shot, will not be able to find anything else in this round. He's been shut down early thanks to a well-timed kill from Eddie, who switched to the Twitch.
Mai off the board as well, an operator who only gets stronger as the clock progresses. You're going to be missing a lot of those discs with how early he died. It's not like he died with a minute left. He died within a minute, so he likely only had 2 deployed, maybe 3. I don't exactly know. I don't know the exact timer to refill those discs, but they will still have Kilo on a bit of an extension. He's top freezer stairs right now. SMG 11 in hand. He'll hear Splash, or sorry, not Splash. He'll hear Julian going for that breach, but there's a drone there, and Kilo will have to swiftly fall back. Minute 20 remaining. Wichita Wolves once again not pressed for time, but this time with a man advantage.
Big difference, though, and they know it, is that they need to somehow avoid the Goyo fire. They've got to get around those Vulcan canisters, or at the very least, detonate them early. That's likely the reason for Eddie on the Twitch. Maybe just sneak that Twitch drone in and try to deal with those very valuable pieces of time waste that One Shot have, because if not...
Oh my God!
Great shot there from Furrow. Nice one-tap. If not, when it comes to the execute phase, they could be in a bit of trouble. But, I mean, they've got a 5v3. Fire on the ground or not, they are poised and ready to take control of this objective.
I mean, not only was that a disgusting shot on Swaylin, that smoke, that's your gas canisters all gone, and Wichita Wolves have dealt with the Goyo packs early enough to where they don't really matter. Eddie sprints on in, still kills Kilo. Subarctic and NVK chime in for 3 in a row. But Ferda gets his third, and now Subarctic is alone, coming under fire. Ferda knows exactly where he is. Subarctic cannot land enough shots, and the Finka will get away, and the plant will be completed. Ferda now backs off up the staircase. Julian will remain below to fight against Subarctic in the 1 versus 1, but Subarctic can't win it, and Wichita Wolves take round number 5.
The adjustment that I loved from the Wolves there is that instead of funneling to one specific position, putting all their eggs in one basket per se, which is where those fires and those canisters are a serious problem, they developed, several different angles at once. In fact, when they actually went for the push, they pushed in from several different angles at once. Most often, when we see a Laundry execute, it'll be Laundry, that main stairs position you try to secure in combination with Freezer. But at the same time, Eddie worked his way in from E-Box, worked his way in Pillar, applied pressure from there. All of that served to accomplish the main goal: avoid that ridiculously powerful plant denial and time waste utility in the form of those smokes and in the form of those Vulcan canisters. They were able to get around it, they were able to push into the site, and they were able to get the bomb down. Of course, it helped that the smoke was dead at that point, and I'm confident the Wolves may have chosen to push out the smoke if he hadn't died with a beautiful one tap from Ferda. But the point is this: they were able to avoid the utility that got them in trouble last time, and they won the round because of it.
And now they're up 4-1, Jonah. I mean, an incredible lead over One Shot, a team that a lot of us expected to win this game, a team that is currently second in the standings. They have the round differential above the Wichita Wolves, but Wichita Wolves are looking to rip that second place spot, maybe even first place spot away from One Shot and Aerial Arise, again, depending on how that Aerial versus Aqualix game goes. One Shot have not been able to find a concrete answer since round number 2, since that flank from Slippery. They'll go down to the basement once more, Jonah. This is their 4th time defending Laundry. I mean, very rarely do we ever see a bomb site played this much. I mean, even 3 times we tend to criticize as just banging your head against the wall. But 4? You've already lost it twice. And this goes to show, I mean, One Shot used to be a good Oregon team, but they have been banning it so many times. And I'm wondering if that was their attempt to never bring teams to an equalizer map. And I worry that their lack of play may have caused some rust to appear, because going to a bomb site 4 times, going to only 2 bomb sites in an entire half, means that you are not confident in your tertiary at all.
Well, there is a big difference in this round for One Shot, and that is some early aggression from Kilo with a C4, in fact. Netted One Shot the kill onto Ferdo. You see how they immediately reacted to that on the defensive side. They all gave up their extended positions, sending it straight back to the objective as soon as possible. And that is a great adjustment, because now, with those 2 nades taken off the board, with the Finka gone, with Ferda gone, and that just fragging prowess that he has put on display so far through 5 rounds, they know they no longer have to be as aggressive, as drone hungry, right? But all of that has served a similar purpose. There are only 4 drones left, and we're only a minute in. 60 seconds in, and only 4 drones remain for this attack. That is a problem for the Wolves, a serious problem, because even if they know what to expect on this site below, once again, One Shot, they could rotate around, they could be fluid and loose on this site downstairs, and if the Wolves cannot identify those positions, the 2 nades from Silent, the 2 nades from Splash, what are they going to be directed towards? Where are these players going to look when they begin to push down below?
Suela now picking up his shield as well, reinforcing an elbow, spotting out that Wichita Wolves are probably going for a Laundry push once again, but no. We'll replace it to face Tower. In fact, One Shot are moving much of their utility towards this side of the map. So, betting that Wichita Wolves are not going for another Laundry play, One Shot, though, might be sorely in the wrong, as Splash has already made his way not only down the staircase, but up to the double door and catches Slippery completely off guard. Well, my disc in hand will fall. Gas canisters come out to respond, but it's 40 seconds left. Swalen still has 2. He's only able to delay really half the remaining timer, and all that utility that was rotated ends up being rather useless. One Shot had a 50-50 call, and they guessed wrong. NVK's tucked in Chala. He'll be fully blinded, though, and allow Eddie to slip through at least for now. If he peeks up, he should find the spot of the head, but no. He misses his shots, eats some damage in return, but no kill for either side just yet. Wichita Wolves struggling to get to the bomb site. Eddie will fall. No trade. Actually, Silent even trades with NVK, meaning Julian and Splash both have to mount their attack from Laundry. Swaylin shuts down one and the second with the shotgun, and One Shot salvage the half, 2-4.
And despite all the flack we gave them for repeating the basement site for a fourth time, they will make it work and take it on their fourth effort. Take it again. So, well played. They end up going 50% on the basement site, winning it in the second round and the sixth round. But those 2 rounds in the middle on the dorm site, going the way of the Wolves, well, that's the scoreline you see in front of you. A 4-2 half favoring the defense now. And that's terrifying if you're the attacking team going into your second half on Oregon. You know you've got quite an uphill climb to complete. And the Wolves, they're a team who knows this map well. And as we saw in that first half, they know how to exploit the weaknesses of their opponent, and they know how to adapt in the mid-round. I think that One Shot can absolutely get a couple of rounds here. But I don't know, Harrison, if this is going to be attacker-sided as a map as a whole.
Yeah, rarely do we see the attacker-sided Oregon. It's almost fabled. Who knows? One Shot are a high-caliber team. They might be able to bring it out here and match Wichita Wolves' energy, but something I'm a little afraid of, right? This map for Wichita Wolves is, obviously very good, but their attacking win rate is rather even, which is already good for Oregon, don't get me wrong, but it's about like 50%, just over, I think. They took a 4-2 half. Their defensive win rate on this map is almost 2/3. So while I think One Shot are a very good team, I mean, Wichita Wolves already took a 4-2, and now they're moving on to their favored side by a fairly large margin as well.
One Shot will be working their way in from several different angles, much like we saw the Wolves do on their attack. Slippery is the first to make that entry into Kitchen and likely up towards Meeting. The rest of this team will work their way in and clear out security. All that's going to be cleared out almost immediately. No real pressure from Wichita being applied to this first or second floors almost at all. Everyone positioned down below. The most aggressive player you've got right now is Splash, who's just busy hunting for this drone, positioned on the top of the freezer stairs. Unlikely to do that again, though, because his position is being watched now carefully by Subarctic on the Zofia. Splash, identifying that, will rotate back closer to the site. Freezer hatch also opened, putting both of the players in freezer into a bit of an uncomfortable spot, especially not sure who that is actually on the freezer stairs fighting for their life, whether that's Ferda or Julian here. It's not going to be an easy fight to take, especially with Splash having backed off. Yes, looks like it's Julian. He'll have to rotate away. The hatch above him, possibly dangerous, but he stays alive for now.
Been the longest we've gone without an engagement, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Because usually there's at least one kill by now, but it's been rather slow. One Shot are typically a slower team than Wichita Wolves, so it makes sense that we've kind of stemmed a lot of that attacking aggression now that we've switched sides. We're starting to send a lot of utility down into freezer, burning away ADSs. Subarctic will open the wall as he takes some chip damage from Splash, but does quickly return it. More Rotero drones coming in from the Flores as well. Slippery upstairs, holding on to stage, making sure that no one on the defense will be allowed to flank. There's only 30 seconds left for One Shot to play with. User is in the pocket of Kilo, and I don't even know where he is. There he is. He'll finally drop that laundry hatch. Slippery gets the leadoff kill onto Eddie with a nade, but Subarctic is very quickly refragged. Swaylin gets another. Slippery with a second nade kill, and here's the back play from Slippery. A triple kill now, blindsiding Splash. Swaylin, another, and it's a two-man ace there for One Shot to win their first attacking round.
I love that you mentioned blindsided there, because that's really what One Shot did as a whole. I mean, they made sure, much like the Wolves did, I believe on that 5th attacking round on basement, right? They pressured from the laundry side. Yeah, they pressured Freezer and that main stairs position, but they also made sure that Pillar and E-Box and Supply, really, they made sure they weren't safe havens for the defense either. I mean, they just surrounded the Wolves, choked them off, and shut them down quickly. It was well played. Really started off with that early push into Freezer. They got that hatch open quickly. They forced the Wolves to fall back, and from there, I mean, what else can you say? You saw the result right in front of your eyes. One Shot were able to push in. They were able to win their fights and turn that into a largely one-sided round.
It was super impressive, Slippery's play. I thought Slippery was just kind of holding flank, but honestly, I should have known better. He was going for that late E-Box drop. I mean, not only was it a successful E-Box drop, but how many times do we see a triple kill from the E-Box drop? 2 of them with nades. Like, how did he get 2 nades kills from E-Box when the main execute was coming Freezer Laundry? I don't know. Either way, beautiful stuff from Slippery. Now we are attacking a different bomb site. It's dorms. Top floor for the Wichita Wolves. A couple downstairs players, at least there were. Silent is getting really aggressive on these barricades as One Shot clear through, but with presence already on the big window, this might be telegraphing a big window white play. No, mind. They're still clearing from Armory side. So I guess they just have big window pressure just for a cutoff on white stairs.
Well, it's much like what One Shot did on the basement site, right? They're just making sure to establish the pressure on both sides, make sure the Wolves cannot get comfortable swinging either position. Splash, right? He's the one that is going to feel that pressure shortly when that master door gets opened and when that armory pressure continues to build, as he is currently in trophy. He's got that deployable shield in his face, but, you know, soon you're going to run out of options.
What?
Right on cue. There it is. NBK just taking him down.
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did that happen? MBK just taking that fight, no utility needed, just a heads-up gunfight that One Shot will win. Not the start that the Wolves were looking for at all, and leaving the site a little bit more vulnerable now that Splash is dead. It's going to put, those players down below, trying to maybe play for the late game C4, into a bit of a precarious position. Ferda, for example, he's got that C4, but he may have to work his way back to the site if this aggression from One Shot continues to build.
Wow, I really have no clue where NVK got that kill from.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I'm in awe. Maybe from satellite window? If there was like if Splash was just a little exposed, but I don't know. Either way, Kilo and Subarctic are starting to move into Master. There is an open attic wall that they have to contend with, but Silent downstairs, perhaps playing for a C4 from below, is killed by Soylent watching that classroom window. A 2-man advantage, make that a 3-man advantage. For One Shot, make that a 4-man advantage as the nade finds Julian. Slippery will get taken out by Ferda, but he's the only death that One Shot suffer. They take the next round dominantly.
It doesn't feel like they even had to execute on that site either. I mean, they were just setting it up. They were still in the process of getting things going. It was just clear out those slightly extended defenders. Splash, dead, check. Get those nades involved. 1, 2, check, check. Just keep on building that pressure on the site. Make sure there's somebody on the flank watch. In the case of NVK, who got that last kill. And all of a sudden, you've got all your bases covered. You've got all the frags you need, and the round is over. Basically a flawless round for One Shot. Not quite, but essentially one. And that's 2 rounds in a row where they have looked very, very clean. We thought that this would not be attacker-sided, but One Shot, unless they can be slowed down here, may be looking that way. The Wolves now forced to just pick another bomb site that they can defend, either go to a 3rd site and continue that rotation, or go for a duplicate. They'll be opting for the latter strategy. We're headed back to the basement here for the Wolves to make some kind of response.
Yeah, I mean, not just 2 attacks in a row, but like we saw from the Wichita Wolves, 2 good attacks, 2 dominant attacks in a row. One Shot have not appeared to have many faults in these first couple rounds. We'll go back down to Laundry for the Wichita Wolves. They will hit that retry button. But this time, there is a very stark difference, Jonah. We have Mira rearing her head. Strangely, for the first time this entire map. It comes on round number 9, despite her being left up for One Shot's entire defense. But I guess they just don't want to play that polarizing operator. But we know that the Wolves are very Mira heavy. They love their Mira.
Yeah, it's actually weird that you mentioned that, because in the 4 iterations of the basement defense from One Shot, you'd think at some point they consider bringing the Mira, how powerful she can be, especially at defending a laundry-sided push, which is what we saw the Wolves do on several occasions. But for now, this will be really the first time we get to see the Mira in play, and we'll get to see how Splash chooses to utilize those black mirrors. Up above, Wolves are, again, not pressuring that very much at all. In fact, 0 pressure, and you can tell because the fact that there are 10 drones still in One Shot's pocket. Not necessarily the way that you love to play this on the defensive side. It's not much of a risk to put somebody on the top of a staircase and shoot those drones out as they work their way down to those staircases. But Wichita Wolves, well, they've made their bed. They've decided, you know what, we are going to commit all of our utility to this basement site. We're just going to sit here and we're just going to wait.
Ooh, silence in T3 of tower. I don't know if One Shot are aware of this. They aren't actively pushing him out. They don't necessarily need to. They can just have someone sit on the flank watch and wait for Silent to come down, but in order for that to happen, they need the info. Either way, One Shot are still mounting their push from the laundry side of things, where there is a Mira staring at them. Dangerous prospect for this laundry push is that it's most commonly supplemented by Freezer, where there is also another Mira staring at. That's why someone from One Shot is on the back tower stairs, and VK is coming in from bunker, trying to maybe destroy that elbow shield, but Splash with the first pick, and no, One Shot did not have info on Silent. He goes down to that flank. Kilo will walk in, as does NVK, as does Swaylin, and get 3 kills in a row before Swaylin finally gets refragged. And what looked like an incredible advantage for the Wolves has slipped away to a 2v2 even man count. Mirror windows no longer aiding this defense as Kilo starts to slip in. They know there's no one Freezer. He'll start going for the plant. C4 will miss its mark, but it does force Kilo off. NVK gets 1. Can he land the second? Kilo falls off the plant for the assist, and One Shot take round number 9.
Okay, big problem there for the Wolves was just lack of communication, I gotta say. One glaring issue was Swaylin on the Finka. His ability to get a kill from Freezer makes no sense at all. Why? Because he was being watched like a hawk by the Mira. The Mira had 2 windows staring right at Swaylin. Could see that the Finka was working his way up to the wall. Should have called that out. And somebody on the Wolves should have said, oh, thanks for the call. I heard that. I'm not going to expose myself to this angle. That didn't happen because Swaylin was part of that 3-kill series that all of a sudden swung the advantage to the side of One Shot. And then you've got maybe a lack of communication because those last 2 players didn't swing on elbow together. That was a little bit odd. But really, you got to applaud One Shot for, losing 2 bodies early and then just deciding to send it. I mean, it's not often that you lose 2 bodies and you say, you know what, let's just go for the execute. Usually you slow things down, start to realize how much, how you're basically backpedaling at that point. You realize you're on the back foot and you have to make some sort of adjustment. But the adjustment the One Shot chose to make was, let's take fights and let's win them. And it worked. That's 3 rounds in a row for One Shot, and they've taken the lead.
And we are going back to laundry. 3 rounds from Wichita Wolves. I guess both these teams just don't want to defend anything else. But we do have Wichita Wolves bringing out a drastic strategy change. They are going for a roam all the way up on the top floor, fully extended, a lot of layers for One Shot to try and peel away, and Swaylin has picked up the Dokkaebi to try and hunt those roamers down. In the meantime, though, Splash will get the opening pick. Slippery dead first. That is a set of nades. In fact, the only set of nades now gone.
Yeah, that's something that One Shot will be wanting back. But I guess one saving grace is that even though we did see a pretty full-fledged roam and extension from the Wolves, they got the opening pick, and it looks like they're satisfied because they're all backed off. We've got Julian, Silent, Splash, Ferda all on that south side. You've got Eddie on the north side, everybody in the basement. So even though it took them a second, One Shot should now have firm control of the top 2 floors. The big difference, though, is that after losing Slippery, you can see it in the way that NVK is moving around this first floor. He is terrified. He doesn't know if there's any more defenders to worry about, doesn't know if that extension is still, or at least parts of that extension are still lingering behind. It does seem, though, that as we cross that 90-second mark, One Shot know that it's clear, and now, even with a man disadvantage, they can turn their attention to that regular rhythm, getting those hatches open and beginning to approach the objective.
Drone coming in from Subarctic will spot the Melusi and Harry Potter. So Eddie does not go unchecked, and thus he will reposition. NVK once more outside bunker as the Flores. Good power position to start using those Roteros. As Swalen's gonna hot drop, Dokubi Call goes out. He's right through the Hibanas. Eddie has no idea and dies to the SMG-12. Good heads-up play to take that tower control, but Kilo dies, I believe, in the bomb site, trying to go for a fast plant attempt. C4 is what downed him. Julian can very well finish him off with a gas canister, and One Shot now have to put the brakes on once more. Another maybe the camera's being hacked by Swalen. I think that's what that was, but there's no bulletproofs from Wichita Wolves unless Eddie was bringing one, and there's no Valkyrie or anything like that, so not a whole lot of info that One Shot are going to be able to get from the Dokkaebi hack. Maybe defaults to watch a flank rather than have flank cams, but as Kilo gets finished off, drops Diffuser in a precarious position. One man down, One Shot have 20 seconds to make a move. Swalen's going to try and walk down the long haul with Sub, but Sub gets taken out long range. Splash gets another. Swalen can't control the SMG-12, and the Wolves will take round 10.
And they will finally take a defensive win, the first one that they've been able to secure, and that will tie them up. I do like the plan there from One Shot. Once again, much like round number 9, it was they were down at least one man. In round number 9, it was 2. In round number 10, it was 1. And so they decided to get a bit aggressive. It was the hot drop from the Dokkaebi that opened things up. But the one thing that was maybe the only thing holding them back was that they didn't use that to do much more. They did try to go for the plant. That it didn't end up working because the C4 had not been baited out yet. But they didn't use the hot drop to quickly take control of Elbow. That was the necessity. I didn't catch the reinforcement actually go up, but I'm pretty sure One Shot missed their chance to attack Elbow before the reinforcement and that rotate was closed off. That really slowed them down again. What they could have had was an incredible opening. You kill the player close to that skull door. You then work your way around. You work your way around from that bunker door all the way across into Elbow, and all of a sudden you've got the site. But they just missed their chance. The reinforcement was able to go up, and it was a very different story.
Even then, even if they don't catch the player reinforcing, Kilo should still have had X-Kairos remaining. Opening all 3 hatches takes 12. He should have 4 left. They didn't use any on, or they shouldn't have had to use any on Eddie because Swalen just dropped in. So if they just walked into Elbow, then just breach it and establish that line of sight. I don't know. Very odd from One Shot to not act off of the play that they had just made. It's now a tie score, 5-5. This match just as close as any of the others that we've seen so far today. We're on track for, I guess, the longest day of Challenger League we've had in probably quite a while. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:01 on the East Coast, and we still have another game after this, but right now, NVK is just using those Rotero drones to perfection, opening up that stage, or those stage stairs, removing the Melusi, allowing One Shot to move a little bit more freely once they go for that execute.
Yeah, like you said, this a nail biter, like all of the games have been today. And, you know, this being Playday number 9, last day of the stage, no better way to close it out. I mean, we've seen every single game has been back and forth, has been incredibly close, and even when one team steps out and takes a tremendous lead, even when they look poised and ready to take the map, the other team says, no, we're gonna make a comeback, we're gonna make you guys work for it. And that One Shot have done very successfully, quickly alleviating the half discrepancy and immediately, well, getting ready to go and taking the lead. Of course, the Wolves answering and tying us up at 5, but now they're trying to coordinate first off-site that we have seen so far on Oregon today, or rather, at least in this matchup. Finally, Meeting in Kitchen is coming out, and already One Shot, I mean, despite only having about 60 seconds left, they've made some good progress here. Splash, though, is almost single-handedly holding this one down. A shame, though, that his impact trick was just off the mark.
I really thought he got that thermite charge, and that would have left One Shot pretty high and dry. Rotero drones succeeding in making him move, but not a whole lot of action happening on top of that from the attack. Gas canisters from all the way down the kitchen wall from Julian being sent out as Ferda, I believe, just hit an air jab. Easy cleanup for Subarctic, but the flank comes in. 1 kill for Eddie. Kilo able to get away. Subarctic applying Overwatch from the hatch, kills another, and Swaylin shuts down Julian. Eddie not able to come back up the stairs, and somehow One Shot get away with this. Swaylin's traded out, sure, but it's far too late. Silent in a 1 versus 3 with players in the site, a player down tower stairs, and 1 on the top floor. Subarctic still has that attic hatch to play with. Even if Silent kills the other 2, the round is almost unwinnable. He's got no info on Kilo, and One Shot takes round 11, put themselves on match point.
There's the 4 attacking rounds that we said probably were very difficult for One Shot to secure, and, well, within 5 rounds, they've done it. They've secured the 4th. They are looking to put this one away unless the Wolves can confirm that 2nd round. But what an attack from One Shot. But the big thing that stands out, Harrison, it is a missed opportunity from Eddie. Working his way on the tower stairs flank, and what does he do? He sprays down one player, just kind of barely collecting that kill, but he lets Kilo slip away. And that's what lost the Wolves the round. Had he killed Kilo, dropped that diffuser in his sights, we would have been looking at a very different story. But the fact that Kilo was able to get into stage, avoid the flank, get the bomb down with the coverage from attic up above, the Wolves almost had no options. There were very few things they could do to retake, and at that point, Eddie had telegraphed his position. He was being watched constantly, so One Shot had no trouble taking him down right after.
It was beautiful stuff. Again, it was a lot of One Shot, like, getting away with stuff that I feel they maybe really shouldn't have. But I digress. It happened. One Shot up 6-5. Splash almost getting pre-fired by Swaylin through the main barricade. Now Swaylin, never mind. He and Slippery doing some synchronized dancing. Trying to decide who was to be the one to play the nades on the window, but Julian almost caught on the cross, dealt a hefty amount of damage. He's going to have to be really careful because One Shot have 4 nades that could potentially have his name on it, and he is oh so important to have up as the defense.
He's critical to have up. It's your smoke. It's really the core part of this plant denial on this objective. We've seen that provide really a key factor in both halves. Both of these teams have been really using the plant denial well, and when they haven't, well, things get quite problematic. Speaking of big problems, that's a big old finger wag in Eddie's direction. He tries to run out and he gets punished. Good mobility on that armory rappel. Make sure that he wouldn't be killed. Subarctic was the one doing that, and then NVK was the one on the coverage who actually collected that kill. Not what the Wolves needed with Julian so lit up. Already 1 smoke used. Not what they needed at all. That'll help, though. A kill onto Slippery to keep us up, keep us tied at least in a 4 versus 4.
Yeah, so Wichita Wolves find that equalizer, but there's someone reinforcing. Arctic can't land the shot. Silent will evade the angle. Able to prone behind the stacks and behind this little metal sheet on Pit, and he'll just sit there. He knows he doesn't really have to do anything, but NVK, he's coming in. He's on the window. As soon as he gets the info, will likely be able to free fire down, but I think that One Shot still thinks he's over in the corner. Whalen's gonna nade it, try and, force the alibi out. In come the flashbangs. NVK finally spots him. The nade successful from Swaylin. Nice little tandem play from One Shot. Nade goes in to try and flush Silent out. NVK sends in the flashes. It forces Silent back in the corner where the nade can claim his life, and One Shot claim the man advantage.
That was so beautifully done. Mid-round, quick pivot, quick job dealing with Silent, and now it's a 4v3. 25 seconds left, and they're poised and ready to go. Losing NVK, though, that is not going to help this. Swalen hoping to get something back on the kid's window. He only has to land a bullet onto Julian, but he's going to pivot. He's going to the Attic side. He wants to support Kilo and Subarctic as they work their way in from Trophy, and that they will. Kilo gets the first, but now goes for this plant. Shotgun from below, and he can't account for that. Only 2 seconds remain. This diffuser's got to get planted, and Julian coming in clutch. A beautiful shotgun kill sitting around the corner in Kids, and there is nothing that the attack could do to avoid it. The Wolves will hold on, and for a third time today, regulation is not enough to decide the outcome. We're going to OT.
It looked so good for one shot in that round. 3 versus 3. They have Swalen coming in through Attic. And not only that, Kilo gets the pick in the site that they're looking for. He kills Splash all the way by Bunk. But then what does he do? Plants on top of floor holds. I understand the logic, knowing that Julian is in Kids, knowing that Ferda might have to come up white, didn't want to be exposed to either angle. He's got someone covering Attic, but at the end of the day, Ferda did not have to rotate. There were floor holes set up for him. He is the mute. Of course, he's going to be playing downstairs in a situation like that. And Kilo, I guess in trying to avoid an easy C4, ends up being easy fodder for a floor bang. From there, 2 versus 2, one shot are so low on time. They have to scramble for kills, and Swalen didn't know where Julian was positioned. When he sprayed open that window, it seemed he lost track of the smoke, had no info, and it was an easy one pump from like 3 feet away that killed him. Well done to Wichita Wolves to hold on there off the back of a pretty big misplay there from one shot. We find ourselves in overtime, but if you're a one-shot fan, you're probably a little worried because they're starting on defense after a double 4-2 attacking halves.
Ooh, well, Kilo, he's going to back on off. We've seen a couple of engagements happen here before. It was NVK, I believe, last time, who swung from that Green Hall double door and ended up losing his life early, but Kilo will not make the same mistake. He'll back off, and he'll join the rest of this one-shot defense as they try to hold down this basement site as best they can. They will have to deal with Eddie. That's something they have not had to worry about before. The blitz, the shield, the flashes that he brings into the mix. Of course, he's got smokes in his pocket as well, but the flash shield that can make it very hard for you to hold any core power position in the basement site, especially like elbow. We're not seeing the Wolves step up right now. They're still droning this out. They've cleared the map. They're opening up these hatches. They want to at least pretend that this is the same attack that One Shot have seen on 4 separate occasions. The one difference, though, is likely going to be when the Wolves decide to send it in.
They're getting ready. Ferda will send in the Gone 6. He'll activate the Surge. Eddie now barreling down as the Blitz. His job is to take elbow, but look at this. Swalen has already reinforced it off. Eddie will confirm it with the drone, and now Eddie's probably sitting there like, well, what do I do now? Now it's likely going to be his job to try and punch a hole in the site, but wow, what a reaction from Slippery. Overexposing himself to Ferda, definitely a disadvantageous angle for him there, but able to react in time and take the head off the Finka. That's a big pick. That'll slow down this Blitz just a bit. We know how dangerous Blitz can be with that added ADS speed buff. Splash gets the equalizer on the Slippery. Gas canisters start to come out. Splash, another. Subarctic responds. 3 versus 3. One of them, again, being a Blitz who really needs to get up close and personal to have any impact in these rounds. Now, luckily, there's only one C4. It's in the hands of Kilo. Kilo's down on site. It's Subarctic, the one going for this flank. The attack is aware, though. Silent shuts him down. Julian, another. C4 claims one. Another for Kilo with the gun, but now backed into a corner. He'll hit the deck, pull out the shotgun, but can't pump in time. Silent, from the jaws of defeat, will clutch the round and put his team in the advantage.
Oh my, just barely, though. And the Wolves, counting their lucky stars after that one, they'll take... Well, enough to send themselves now not only to overtime, but to overtime match point. A timeout as well appears to be coming out from Wichita as they hope to regroup, think about this defense, as they hope to close this one out here. This could be our third 8-6 of the day. We haven't seen all 15 rounds yet. The Wolves hoping to be the team, I guess, to continue that streak. One shot, they need to break that. They need to find a way to get another attacking win under their belt. As the statistics would tell you, as the round count would tell you, that is the more likely outcome, given that this map has been attacker-sided. But the Wolves are using this 60-second tack timeout to figure out whatever it is that they could throw at one shot to throw them off their game.
And doesn't seem to be anything too fancy. Wichita Wolves are just bringing that Mira again. Something that didn't quite work for him. The one round they did win, I think, was when they had that heavy roam setup. But having the Mira didn't do too much, and I have to kind of question why Wichita Wolves are going for this Mira. Maybe they're going to try and have, Mira and Smoke play on site with the other three roaming and kind of have, a best of both worlds strategy going on. But if they don't do that, I have to question why bunker. Because as we've seen, One Shot have time and time again been allowed to set up. Even if they're fighting against a Mira, they still come away with the win.
Gotta say that One Shot have really been the more impressive team, I feel like, in this game. Like, I don't know what it is, but it feels like they are a little bit more in control, at least since those first few rounds. I think I'm saying that mostly because it was the first half that the Wolves were most successful on, and the One Shot success is a little bit fresher
You have a
in
recency
memory.
bias.
Right, recency bias. Good old classic psychology lesson for you. But
Fallacy.
here in overtime, we often see these streaks broken. We often see the momentum shift. We often see attacker-sided maps maybe go defensive-sided, and that's what the Wolves are hoping they can pull off here with, at the helm, a pretty unique setup. They're going with a Mira on the soft wall facing the pillar side. Not something we see too often.
That may have just missed Eddie. And like I said, if they are combining that Mira with the roam that was so successful for them before, then yes, it can be very good. But that drone, it's going to completely miss Eddie. Subarctic is just on the other side of this wall, and it is a freebie for the Malusi. We know how ratty the Wichita Wolves like to play. It is their game plan. It is written first page of the strat book, and yet One Shot still don't properly check their corners. How can you make such an obvious mistake like that? Luckily, they get a refrag. Silent gets shut down through the wall, but Slippery eats so much damage as well, and Eddie's looking for more.
Yeah, he does not want to give up this position whatsoever. Still fighting on the tower stairs. I mean, a lucky wallbang is all he needs. One bullet is all he needs to land onto Slippery to give Wichita Wolves that 4v3 advantage that, oh man, he is hunting for. Look at this. I mean, he is eager to get those kills. I think he'll end up, getting a little bit wiser. Maybe he'll try to shoot out a drone, but then eventually he will fall back. They've taken down 4 drones. They've taken down Subarctic. You've lost Silent along the way, but overall, you've got 4 full HP defenders and only 3 full HP attackers, with Slippery just clinging on for dear life.
Luckily, he does still have a nade, so he can indirectly impact the round, as well as, having that Iana clone, the hologram for more info. So he is still very useful in the terms of utility, despite having very low HP. Minute now left for One Shot to make their move. Kilo finishing up his hard breach. NVK still on the floor as C4 goes out, but it misses both him and the drone in front of him gathering info. Roteros start to go out. He sees there's barbed wire. He wants to deal with it, not get trapped once he starts his descent, especially because of the mirror window in the closet that Splash was previously playing behind. Reinforcement goes out, I believe, on elbow as Splash pushes up towards the stairs and actually gets a kill. Kilo is now dead. Slippery, very tentative about the engagement because of his low HP, and against the Vector, he is prime feeding for Splash. Another one for Splash? No, Swalen shuts him down. NVK, another from Freezer. Ferda overexposes himself. 2 versus 2 now. 12 seconds left. Last gas canister for Julian is now out, but that's not going to stop him from fragging Swaylin. NVK is the only thing standing between one shot and defeat, and Eddie will take him out. 14 rounds, still no max OT, as Wichita Wolves take the third 8-6 of the day.
3 8-6 victories, and this one going to the Wolves. A hard-fought victory for certainty as they lock themselves in for a potential second-place finish. I believe there may still be a slight chance of first if something ridiculous happens in the Aerial Arise game, but it looks like that the Wolves will be finishing
17.
second. They've had quite a season. 17 kills being dropped there. I mean, this is really a great way to cap off a hard-fought season. It is one shot in the Wolves, two teams who have been at the top of this leaderboard, at the top of, I think, all of our power rankings for quite some time, and this was definitely a battle of the Titans. It was on Oregon, but they made it exciting, and we had to see overtime to decide it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
And I really got to give it up to Splash in this game, coming off of 2 back-to-back games where he put his team in a 4v5 because of hotel Wi-Fi. Wasn't great for the Wolves. I mean, they won one of their games, lost the other, then lost to TTK. Splash has been surprisingly absent from their recent games, even without hotel Wi-Fi. But today, he made a stance. He takes second place for sure for his team, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe first, like you said, if Aqualix end up beating Aerial Arise. 17-11 for him. Even playing like Mira on defense, rather passive roles. And we kept seeing him get aggressive, get first picks with C4. I mean, walk up laundry stairs as Mira and kill Kilo in that last round. I mean, huge stuff from Splash, but we're going to go back to the analyst desk before our final game, of course, so they can digest this match and why Wichita Wolves came out the victor.
Everything you could have wanted from this matchup, we received. This was such a good match. Now, it was funny because Tanner, we had, we had these moments where you had players doing well and then cooling off and then doing well again. Mainly, I'm thinking of Wichita Wolves, and I'm thinking this rotation of Ferda, Splash, and Eddie. And this game was up in the air. It felt like the whole time. What was your take?
I mean, the defenses were just nuts. Like both teams, like it felt like they were really struggling to maintain their defensive posture. You had players like Eddie just walk in with on round 1 and kind of set the tone we saw for the rest of the game, where he just walks in with an LMG. LMG goes burr, and he gets 4 kills in about 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And that was just seemed to be like the name of the game. You had players come and pop off from the side of Wichita on an individual level. We just saw in the highlights there, Julian with his shotgun play to close out the bunks round for them, which is a round that they probably should have lost. But again, just these individual plays coming out and just like little mistakes coming out from the side of One Shot. One Shot was a team that, like we were talking about there at the end, like Kilo, he made a really big blunder there when he was misdrone his corners. So you got to be checking in the corners, and then boom, yeah, exactly like Crow was saying. Like, look at Splash, like he just absolutely dominated this game through and through.
And Connor, I mean, this is the second and third team, and now Wichita Wolves giving themselves a chance at first. But I think we've really just seen a separation of the pack with our top 3 teams of these two and Aerial Arise.
Yeah, both of these teams came to play. This was a game of very, very small mistakes that ended up adding up. And that's what you expect to see on a map like Oregon, that honestly, you want to just immediately go off the cusp and say, yes, the Wolves won this game in the prep phase. They won it as soon as map bans came out. However, it was incredibly close. And I almost want to say that if Swaylin had started off kind of with the tempo that he came through, he started 004 and ended 10-10. Not that bad of a finish considering how horrible of a start it was. Maybe if he was there for the first couple of defensive rounds, the entire kind of tempo of the game would have shifted. We would have maybe seen, that kind of, considering One Shot got a 4-2 attacking split, they probably shouldn't have given one up as well.
Yeah.
Now, for the interview, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, Forceful. We are going to get to the interview with Wafer from the side of Wichita Wolves here, who can finally represent the org in full fashion. Wafer, this was a huge win for you guys. Was this the most important matchup that you've played yet, considering this possibly vaults you into first? We'll have to see.
Well, definitely not. Every single game is the most important, every single point counts. So definitely not. Of course, we had like situations for like maybe getting first place or not, right? But I think the mistakes and what get us in this situation, right? What's the most important thing. So, but we already solved it. So I think we're fine by the moment. It's the first split. Nothing is defined until the end of the year.
Now you had this big head, like I'd say three-headed dragon of Splash, Eddie, and Ferda. The three of them popping off together. What's it like when the three of them are just kind of like firing in rotation and giving you a chance every round to win?
Well, they're basically doing their job, right? The game plan is being accomplished. They're just like popping it, you know.
And final question for you: now that things have kind of wrapped up, what is the report card? What's the grade that you would give your team for this stage? What did you like about your team, and what are some things maybe you're looking to improve upon?
Well, being realistic, in my opinion, we did a great stage, right? We have a lot of mistakes to fix for the next stage. But as I said, we have been working on the staff, and the team is doing a great synergy. So I think we will be good for stage 2. I hope just like we don't have like any external problems that can like, problems that we can avoid, right? But I think like a grade from 1 to 10, I will say an 8, 7 maybe.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, good luck next stage. We can't wait to see you guys back, Wafer.
Thanks.
Have
See
a
you
good
guys.
one. See that? I still got the all the water, the Aqualix puns splashing around in my head as I'm mixing up surf and splash and all these other aquatic names. Okay, we are 4 matches down today. We have to find out when it happens, when it finalizes that off-stream matchup between Aerial Arise and Aqualix, to really know who is going to, when the dust settles, who's going to be in first. But one more matchup on stream to go today. After a quick break, we will be back with West Garfield Park taking on LSR.